The City of Angels is black and gold. You are listening to the Heart of LAFC podcast. And now, Joseph Zacher.
Greetings, Los Angeles. Welcome to episode 295 of the Heart of LAFC podcast. For this episode, we're going to call it Payasos for very obvious reasons. Of course, if we're going to be addressing some clowns and calling people out, you got to have my boys in here going crazy. We got Bam on, and we've got Slip back. I know. The man, the myth, the legend is here, and I am here as well. Tony is off doing important supporter things. Again, you will love and hug him when you see when that's all said and done. But he'll be back for sure the next episode. All love to you, Tony. Thanks for getting stuff done. Slip, how are you doing tonight, sir?
You know, I'm at a mix of feelings. I'm upset about the loss, understanding of it, having a time of my life with Ricky Puig on Twitter, more than I should have, but I've been off a couple of days, and I'm really excited for Leon. So, kind of reconciling my feelings and taking it off on poor people on Twitter.
Well, it's funny. It turned into a bit of a duck hunt for you today, or at least this week, because that dude pops up with his nonsense, but some other people came up for air too. So it's been kind of a fun run this week, right?
Yeah, he who shall not be named yet came back out of his cave, and he's just asking to end up on another T-shirt. I think every season I'm going to have like a different take from him. On a shirt, on a robe, on a jacket. So, at first I felt bad, but now it's just, screw it, man.
He's back for more. He's
becoming very, very, very weird now.
Yeah. The fun part is said individual considers himself a journalist of some sort, which is even more entertaining. But yeah, we'll get into it as we go on this because that was pretty entertaining. Bam, how are you doing, sir? Welcome back to the show. We are happy you're on the right side of things.
I'm doing all right. It's got a little bit of cough too, so I mute myself unexpectedly. I'm just coughing my lungs up, but COVID sucks. It's still around, and Jesus Christ, it sucks.
Having experienced it, no doubt about that. It's pure evil. So we're just, again, your recovery so far is impressive because it's taken a lot longer for a lot of other people, including myself, to get back from this. So thank you, sir, for being a trooper and getting on, especially in an episode like this one where we got to deal with some Debbie Downer stuff as well as some optimistic things. But yeah, this is one that you got to go hard on, and you're right into it, dude.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. Like if you're sick, it takes a lot for me to not come on the podcast. Like I've been on here with just a cold and all that, it's fine. But yeah, I as you saw when I jumped in before you guys went live last couple of shows, I just wasn't feeling it. I was still in bed. I couldn't get out of bed. So thank you to you, Tony, Araceli, for holding the fort down while I was off sick.
Dude, we're again grateful to have you back, man. I know we were a little worried there, dude, because it seemed a little heavier than we thought it would be for you, but you're back, and again, bravery. There we go. Slip, I know you've had to deal with some of this stuff too, but you're good, right?
I've had it 4 times. So at this point, if I hit the 5th one, I think they're going to take my blood and use me as like the guinea pig for experimenting and seeing how they can finally resolve this and find a bunch of other stuff in my blood. But
so you're the reason why they keep making new shots. You're the guy.
Basically. I'm like a combo of every variant at this point. I'm the Bruno of COVID.
Toxic hot takes and COVID.
COVID probably has me on a T-shirt at this point.
Right. Now we're gonna make a T-shirt of this. Man, yeah, dude, it's been wild. It's been a wild few days. I know y'all saw the Puig nonsense that came about, and I will say this to Chiellini, thank you, sir, for getting into it with this dude and calling him out for his clown behavior, because it did a couple things. One, called him out directly, and it kind of creates a little bit of animosity before the next match, which we definitely need. It also allowed the boys themselves who had to suffer through that match to get a little bit of a respite from negativity, right? Because we're dealing with this conversation rather than what exactly happened and transpired on the day. And it kind of gave an out to our FO as well, let's be honest, in what's happening. And, you can debate it all you want, and we could debate all night about it, about the lineup situation, but it's a little bit sus, man. I'm not going to lie. Promoting a match, promoting a rivalry, having it at the big stadium, charging the full prices. And at the end of the day, it's an LAFC 2 match. Things don't quite add up. I get why, but in my footballing heart, it breaks kind of all the rules, right? It's just not natural. You don't do this against a rival, and you don't charge your loyal fan base full rate for a half rate side. I'll say it just like that because it's true. It's our reserve side. I look at you, Bam. You're ready to react on this thing. Thoughts, man, on again going with a half ranked lineup and the way it all played out.
Start off with saying, with the game being on Galazzo, it meant that it wasn't available legally here in Australia. So even trying to find an illegal stream, I couldn't come across it. They got that stuff down in lockdown. Thankfully, I didn't have to watch the second half, and that's what I understand was the biggest problem hearing from everyone was the second half, was the substitutions, all that. The first half we did all right. Did see that we saved a penalty in the first half, so that was a good sign. For me, what really frustrated me was knowing that we have no games this weekend. Why didn't we? Look, if we were playing this weekend, I understand completely.
Yeah.
But this, or not, but because there's no games this weekend, why didn't we put in a more full strength side than what we did?
Right. I mean, we know we're thin at the back, and we get that you need to have reserves back there. We know we're comfortable with reserves in goalkeeping. We know we don't want to risk Bouanga and Vela. Those are kind of the obvious ones, right? We could still do all that and protect all that and still build a better midfield, right? Still builds a few extra pieces to get us across the line, especially in that second half. But it was an outright, no, we're just going to run the kids. That was it. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right, Slip?
Yeah, I don't want to come in and be that I see both sides guy, but I'm gonna be that guy for a second. I see both. As a supporter, I am pretty upset. There was just this feeling of sour, like bitterness when they got the second one in, and knowing that this match could have been held in Fullerton, capped the prices at around $40. But unfortunately, the U.S. Soccer Federation, we're that team now. We're on our way to being one of the greatest MLS sides the league has ever seen, and of course, they're going to want to capitalize on it. So that's a whole other story. Riding us for the clout, riding us for our image. I mean, who doesn't want a Galaxy LAFC confrontation? We're going to have like 6 of them this season. That being said, hey. It happened, and we all kind of had a feeling it was going to happen. We were going to field a weaker team. These clubs have been playing against us like it's a World Cup final. They've been going in hard. They've been putting our players through the ringer physically. And as angry and upset as I am as a supporter, as a fan, Real Madrid wouldn't field a B team against Barcelona in a Copa del Rey midweek match, no matter how busy their schedule was. They'd be scandalized. The media would have a field day with them if they did that. And we did. I understand that we are not, we're not in the Liga. We're not overseas. This is, after all, U.S. soccer, and the schedules and the mechanisms are kind of, way different. But that's another conversation for another time. I'm trying to reconcile my feelings. I'm not that mad. At the time, I'm mad at myself. I came in straight from Vegas. I had come in from EDC Las Vegas. I jumped out of the car and literally got there at kickoff. So I'm starting to think, if this was what I was going to walk into, I would have had 2 more days out in Vegas, sipping on a mojito poolside, because the weather obviously wasn't helping either. It was cloudy. It was sad. It was cold. Coming from 100 degrees, it was a little odd.
Yeah, man, I'm with you, dude. It took some sacrifice to get to this midweek match. My soccer team had its awards banquet that night. We had planned it for a long time, right? Got out at 7, had to drive halfway across town to get to the game. Got in about 15 minutes late. It was also my anniversary. I got a reprieve for this match. You know how that works, guys. Married folks out there. But I got a reprieve. And so these are things where I could be anywhere else but here right now. But for the sake of the rivalry, because I respect the rivalry, right? My family respects the rivalry, so they were cool with it because, hey, you got to go hard, man. You got to get these guys. I guess we were the only ones that did, Slip, right?
We got catfished.
Yeah. The old bait and switch. That's what it felt like. Especially getting, think about it, right? 20 something bucks for a supporter ticket, nearly 40 bucks for parking if you're going to park close.
$50 for beer.
50 bucks for beer, and to see a team that could have been at Fullerton for next to nothing. Yeah. It's tough.
I didn't even get the $5 beers. I got the right at kickoff. So I'm over here paying full price.
Same here, man. Same here.
See, this is nothing I don't get, right? Is it's a cup game. These are the games that should be taken to the local grounds, taken to the community, given back to the community and all that. Like my biggest pet hate in the US Open Cup, and I've said it to many people many times, is if an MLS team plays a USL or below team, the MLS team should travel. Don't care.
Yeah.
They should be the team that travels straight away. Like over here in Australia, we got the Australia Cup. It used to be the Football Federation Australia Cup. Now they call it the Australian Cup. If an A-League team gets drawn against a non-A-League team, the A-League team must travel. They're going to suburbia grounds. They're going to grounds that are fit 2,000 people. They're lucky. $10, $20 entry at the gate. They got the Slovakis going. They've got the $5 beers. It's standing room only. You're standing right behind the goals on the fence, literally 2 meters away from the players, hurling abuse. They can hear you better. You can hear them and all that kind of stuff. It's great. And these are the games where that's what they should do there. Your MLS, you've got the money, you can fly, go.
Right. Well, if U.S. Soccer is willing to spend the money, they're not willing to pay for a full-time coach right now. So, I mean, are you surprised?
Yeah, I really think the MLS is going to work hard to kind of dilute the meaningless of this tournament as much as they can. I mean, don't be surprised if like next year we're playing 5 different other tournaments, like the Budweiser.
Well, we can qualify for them, right?
Yeah. I think the importance of the tournament is definitely being diluted by the league. They don't want any part in this anymore. But tradition is tradition, and the supporters are very loud about that. Like Bam said, there has been. Where was it? Was it the Columbus game where the train was running in the middle of the match at the ground and all that stuff? Like, visiting these stadiums. I mean, Monterey Bay looked really interesting as well. They had quite the turnout.
Though, like you look at last year, Sacramento Republic, they had the fair going on in the background.
Yeah,
stuff like that. That is what you love about the cup. It's the magic of the cup.
And then here's the forceful FA Cup comparison where, you see that stuff in the FA Cup. I remember Tottenham playing that one team where, it was like 5,000 capacity at the stadium. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's, Harry Kane's like literally right in front of us. He's playing in the equivalent of like a high school ground.
Yeah. And that one game would have been the whole budget of income for the whole season. So they'll be able to pay the players a bit more. The sponsorship they could get for that game just be beautiful. And that is what makes the lower level leagues grow and get players that get better that way and go up through the ranks.
So they would say the magic of the US Open Cup.
It could be, right? It could be, but we all know how this works. It's about the money. It will always be about the money. Now, if you incentivize it properly and pay, right, a proper prize, a proper place in a tournament, like legitimately back it, MLS teams will care, right? Because now there's more involved, or they have somewhere where they can make some type of marketing out of it. But again, it's still poor.
You know where we're going with this. This is a conversation that we're probably never going to win.
Oh, yes.
Because money.
Money. It's always come back to the same thing. Money. Which they took ours without question, right? I always go back to that because it's like, man, if we had to take it serious, you should have taken it serious. But this is where we're at. So, yeah, that's that. Now, to the football side of it, the logical side, we all know why this happened, right? it's about the roster. It's about protecting things. It's getting ready to make history next week, potentially. But let's be real. Now you put all your eggs in one basket. Am I wrong in this? Right? You threw this tournament away. You really aren't going to care that much about the League's Cup. It's there. It's going to happen. Everything's about this Champions League final. So if you don't perform after tanking at home to your arch rival, dude, there's going to be some hard questions to ask.
Oh, no. He definitely put, a noose around his neck with this. Like,
Yeah.
That when we were down 2-0 and the subs came in, and it's like, all right, that's when it's like, all right, I put on Twitter, he's throwing the game. He doesn't care about the game. All right, that's fair. But you better hope to God that you win the CONCACAF Champions League after this, because we look at this. If we don't, and it's going to be even more embarrassing than it already was. Well, I wouldn't say embarrassing, more disappointing. There was some, speaking of receipts, someone on Instagram, I think they tagged Sin Filtro on it, saying, this is embarrassing. I think they might have been on the piss, but this is embarrassing. If we don't win the CONCACAF Champions League, Shrundalo should turn in resignation. I wouldn't go that way either. I mean, let's not get too hard. That's why I probably assumed they were on a good one, but it is pretty disappointing. It will be pretty disappointing if we don't take this. Because why else? We didn't have a game for a whole week. Unless, from the get-go, you weren't going to pay any attention to this tournament to begin with. I can't find another reason.
Yeah, I mean, you're willing to take it again. You're willing to take an L at home against your arch rival.
Just sounds so
only
bad.
Twice in our history has ever happened. Okay, all right, get the job done.
Was this the first time it happened with people, right?
Yes, it's the first time with people.
Sorry, I didn't want to be that. Ooh, it was in the bubble kind of guy, but
no, it was a bubble match with an illegal player. You want to throw that out there too?
Oh no, that's they had their all-stars over there. Well, I mean, they had him on Tuesday too, but
right, they had an on-loan DP, so it is what it is. This was the first one where it could have been what it was, but hey, we move on. Now let's talk about the match itself, because there were some admirable things about it. Stuff that I think are highly encouraging from what we saw. Substitutions is another story, but let's go to it. We play the Galaxy. Yes, we lose 2-0, both goals in the second half, but the first half was our story. Legitimately our story. We gave it to these guys. They didn't know what to expect because of who we were fielding on this thing. And it was rather fascinating. In goal, of course, is Jakubovic, the hero of the day against Monterrey Bay FC. We have Rosales and Dolenmeyer as your center backs, right? And I knew Dolenmeyer would eventually get this, right? You just know where he's at. Gaines is your right back, Romero as your left back. Crisostomo is anchoring your midfield with Dueñas and Bogusz, right? We've talked about Bogusz being a midfielder. Well, there it is. And then you had Ordaz, Buke, and Apoku up top. Yeah, that's our roster for this thing. Again, how many minutes have these guys all played together? As opposed to the Galaxy, who've played several games, because their lineup seems to always look pretty much almost the same, right? Not a lot of changes. But for us, it's a shuffled lineup against a Galaxy team that's desperate. Yeah. Slip, you want to add in on that?
They were the youth, though. They were mopping Cáceres and Caligari all over the place. It was relentless. And if it wasn't for Klinsmann, I'm not going to lie to you, we would have been up 3-0.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It should have been 3-1 halftime. And that's how good the half went. Yeah.
Oh, and Eldon blocking the penalty on Ricky El Payaso Puig as well. Shout out to him. But I just think, second half, these kids are young. They don't have that ability to, handle the pressure of a match like that for that long. This is one of the situations where, ideally you would have had 3 or 4 veterans come in at halftime and kind of, finish it off, play along with them, carry them in this one. But of course, we didn't have any of them on the bench or even registered. A few were out,
not even dressed,
taking my place in Vegas, to say the least. So what happened. And it wasn't a shock to any of us. It was more disappointing.
Yeah, and now looking at their lineup, it's pretty funny though, right? Because if you look at the lineup, they have Hernandez up top, Puig behind him, Edwards and Rodriguez, Brugman, Delgado, Aud, Caceres, Zavaleta, Caligari and Klinsmann is your only back.
They brought their A squad.
It was A squad. And you can say, well, Klinsmann's a backup. Well, I don't know about that, because if you saw how Bond played the last 2 games, he's set to sit down anyway.
They alternate.
Yeah, because Bond stinks right now. He does.
Exactly.
Simple. He would not have stopped these shots in the first half. He wouldn't have
Okay,
done
so
it.
look at that lineup though. You have Mexico's, top scoring forward, World Cup veteran. Then you have Ricky Fuchs, Barca reject, who's won La Liga and whatever with everything he has. You have Martin Cáceres, who just came off of the World Cup playing, with Uruguay. Plenty of players with experience struggling against LAFC 2.
Yeah,
it was incredible to see. I was all there for the banter. If they would have held it, it would have been legendary banter. But obviously we weren't. Well, in Steve's eyes, we didn't care about this. And for a side that wasn't caring, those first 45 minutes were gold.
No, those players cared. See, that's the thing. Our boys cared.
They're playing for the crest.
They're young men. They've grown. Most of them in this lineup, the young guy, they grew up with this team. They bleed these colors. Heck of a lot more than the coaching staff does. Sorry, but that's the truth, right? So it's going to be a fight for it. Now, at the highlights, let's just throw the highlights out there. Of course, the 2 big ones, the 49th minute goal. Basically, Tyler Boyd does what he does best. He did it to us when the A-boys were playing too. Left-footed shot from distance. This time go to the right side of the box, to the left corner, right? Crossing away. Assisted by Delgado. What a shock there, but we've seen this from Boyd before. 52nd minute, Puig scores, right-footed shot left side, 6-yard box in. I still think that play was a foul, because we had a player that was set to clear it, and he got fouled from behind and could not clear it. He was taken out of the play. I know it, pro is going to do pro things, but there could have been a call on that. It didn't happen, but in truth, 49-52, as close as those were. Again, a young side got bloodied once. They're still trying to find themselves by the time the 52nd minute comes around. I think one meant 2, right? And then, of course, then they found themselves settled in. Okay, let's go for this thing. Still, throughout the second half, we were still getting opportunities. There were still chances to steal one back. There were a few chances for them, but we still had the opportunity to do something here. Even with the substitutions, and when they rolled out the youth team for warm-ups, I know both you and I, our shoulders kind of sank at that. When we saw the warm-up, we're like, yeah, okay. And then now Manny going out, yeah, we knew what was happening here. But still, credit to the boys that did go out there. They still put in the fight. And that to me is the takeaway. I think for most of us is, hey, man, they still put in the fight. Crazy thing is, we barely ceded possession in this game. At 40%, 47%, right? Barely ceded possession. We actually had more total shots, but again, was one less accurate. More shots than Carson A, right? Fouls, dude, they hacked us this game. 19 fouls. I mean, we saw the physicality, which is why we were concerned about the game in the first place. Again, they were treating it as a rivalry. And they should. So you want to credit Carson for one thing. They did treat it properly, right? Running it out there. But our boys still put up a fight.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing is these kids, and they are kids, they showed passion and desire to want to play for this club and for the fans.
Yeah.
That's what they showed.
Mm-hmm.
Where Carson took this a lot more seriously to put the A side out, because this is the only thing that they are going to be able to win this year.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They're not going to win anything but this. And if
they won't win this either. They won't win this either.
They're just waiting for that one MLS side that throws their A team on. They're done.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that being said, though, at least this has given Klein a couple more weeks in the job.
There you go.
Among other things, yeah. I will say, I think Ricky Puig's celebration, the classless celebration for 32-52, is just a testament as how frustrated the kids had him and the supporters had him. The guy misses the penalty, gets it blocked excellently by Eldon. he can't make it past these kids. He's looking for it the whole time, for those 50 minutes until he actually scored. You can tell the guy was frustrated. He tried covering it up during the interview that, the fan base can be very disrespectful. It's like, no, dude, you were getting suffocated by 18, 19-year-olds. You were getting outplayed. You were getting shut down. You couldn't do anything. The supporters were all against you. You were getting clowned on. Of course, you're going to have this sort of reaction and judged harshly according to it, because it is what it is. He was a clown. But with players like that, there's a reason why he is where he is at his age right now. I think Zlatan tried to give Vela that kind of flack when, the rivalry was coming up. He's like, oh, I'm here, as an old man. He's here in his prime, which I disagree with. Vela's prime was a little earlier than that. But, okay, using their own god as an example. I mean, look at Ricky Puig over here celebrating. He went from winning La Liga with Barca to literally no manager wanting him there, to ending up here and celebrating against LAFC 2, like if it was a last-minute winner against Madrid in the Champions League final. So,
dude, showing the shirt against academy kids.
Yeah, and it's a testament, as we had him frustrated.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's the boss of MLS Next, man. He'll be the greatest player to ever play in MLS Next.
I put that out there. I'm like, it seems like Carson found their form. It's against MLS Next.
And they found their level. Yeah, they found their level. This is your level. You're the champs of MLS Next, if you want to field it there. And Puig, yeah, I love what Chiellini did. Again, I'll go back to it a million times over. I think it was the right move. And apparently a lot more was going on in those tunnels before that audio clip. So I guess you did lay into him pretty good for the sake of our boys. But yeah, I just think it's hilarious. And that's why we call it Payasos, is how they're going to try to milk this game, right, as their turnaround, as the moment they found themselves, and see how they're a serious side, because we could take out our rivals in a cup match. You did, but it was really LAFC too, and everybody knows this. Anybody knows it. They question our choices. I get that. I've said it already. I question the choices. I'm too competitive for these sort of things. But at the same time, if that's what you're going to hang your hat on, I can't wait to play you in July. I cannot wait for our boys to take some corrective action in July and remind them of who they are and who we are, and go at it.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, because sometimes when I do, the last time I did on here, when I went off about Bouanga and saying he was going to be MVP and he was going to have a breakout season, I think it's been turning out to be pretty accurate. So I'll say this, 4th of July, we're going to come in there. We're going to the Rose Bowl as the reigning MLS Cup and CONCACAF Champions League champions. And that's what's going to be beautiful. I think we're going to walk in there with all the confidence in the world, and they're going to see it's like, no, now you're facing Big Brother. Now this is LAFC. The narrative is always going to be there, though. Yeah, we beat them, F them kids, what they were saying on socials and whatever. But, what I find funny is that a lot of those guys that now are using the winning is winning argument. Doesn't matter if you fielded your kids. But you see it's like, Carson fan, Clippers fan, Angels fan. Oh, the Lakers and the Dodgers won it in the bubble. It doesn't count. I'm like, well, you're using that argument now, but then you just beat a bunch of kids, and it all of a sudden counts. So the hypocrisy and everything. It's so many stupid takes. I was off this whole week because I had just come a full week of work. So I was having more fun than I should have, calling all that stuff out, and to great success. I think a lot of people were backing it. So I had the time of my life this week.
No, I knew you would. I knew you'd get over it pretty quickly under the circumstances, but I knew that at that point you're going to defend it. That's what we do. And again, it was the easiest fishing I've ever seen. It's kind of like you were at a trout farm, just waiting for the hook to get pulled. You just let it lay there, and it was funny, as a player for us, let that hook out, and we all just get the pull because it was easy. It was almost too easy. But boy, we enjoy every one of those easy catches, right? I mean, it's just fun to watch them flail, right? The dying animal mindset, because they are flailing. They're trying to find anything they can. I get it. That it doesn't go away. It's the thing. Their problems do not go away. They could talk about us a million years, Their problems are still here today. It didn't change this week. It's still the same team. Right, Bam?
Exactly. It's still the same team, and just to throw more fire on them at the moment is reading what I've been reading today on Twitter about what's happening at the next home game. It's just even worse.
What's happening, man? You got to share it now.
So this week coming up is their LGBTQ match. So Pride Night, all that kind of stuff too. From what I've been reading is that they've got transphobic people being the hosts of the game. They're paying them $25,000 for these 3 people to host a game and celebrate Pride Night, but they're people that have been caught out in the past for being transphobic. If that's not a Carson thing to do, I don't know what is.
Oh man, now see, I got to read more on this. This is bizarre. So they've stepped in it. That's what they've done. Oh
yeah,
my
they're like that friend who, like, you know, tries to make you dinner to make up for things and ends up burning your house
down.
You know, burning your house down, trying to make you the dinner. But hey, I was going to bring up a quick point. I think we keep Carson relevant. I mean, they are the, you know, the most winning MLS title team in the league. But I mean, look at DC United. They're the second biggest one, and literally nobody cares about DC United. Nobody's around there to keep them relevant. They've been in the mud for so long. And if it wasn't for LAFC being around, really, Galaxy would be in that same position right now. I'm like, all right, old man. Yeah, we get it. You won it back then, and since '96, whatever. All right, time for your nap. So if it wasn't for us, man, you know, these guys would be washed. These guys would be forgotten about, and they hang on to us for relevancy. They have to count on us to keep them relevant, because all they talk about is LAFC. And as much as, you know, we're talking about them here because we play them, but after we really don't. I've never been a fan of the whole, you know, putting your rival's name on your shirt or whatever. So I rarely, you know, talk about them outside of, you know, the week that we play them or leading up to playing them. But we're on their mind 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this off air, and I've told you, like, to me, the greatest thing ever for them would be to rebrand and relocate or simply disappear. Like that's where I'm always going to be at, having dealt with their supporters in a lot of funny ways, as Slip knows too. I have no love for them. I have no care for them. If I never saw them again, I wouldn't feel anything. I wouldn't, because I have my team. I have my world. I have my friends. I don't need them. But they need us. They need us to talk about. They need us to stay relevant. They need the results. They need it. We don't. You saw how the club treated it. They know that we get nothing out of a victory that night outside of moving forward in a tournament, but it's nothing that's going to boost our ratings. It's nothing that's going to move the needle. It doesn't. Doing well in this rivalry, it's nice to win. We definitely need to win, right? Because, again, it's still the local rival, but it's not life and death in terms of our club's existence anymore. We've moved on to bigger and better things because they've made themselves irrelevant with their decisions.
What do you do if you wake up in the morning and it's like MLS announces the Los Angeles Galaxy has been moved to San Diego?
Probably contact Jerry and hope there's new ownership so he can work with them. Yeah, I mean, really, moving on.
If anything, it'll be Galaxy moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, I think what we would do is we'd place their gear and their photos next to Chivas USA, Tampa Bay Mutiny, and Miami Fusion, and went, okay, it's a footnote. Moving on. Like, we've got our world now, you know. Which brings us to the next thing, of course, the CCL. But before we're going to get into the CCL, we're definitely going to cover some community news, and we haven't heard from you guys yet today. So definitely let's do that now. Let's see what everybody's up to. I can't wait for the comments from all of you. Let's jump into it. Jibble is in the mix. Danielle Hill says, I know this isn't how it works, but I'd like to give my 3 stars of the match. Let's go. And I like where he's at on this. Check this out, guys. And you are right, Danielle, for doing this. And shame on us for not saying it beforehand. So here we go. His number 3, Marcus and AC, for what they gave to the culture. I've got some stories, guys. Those guys are amazing. Chiellini and Gaines for putting Pooj in his place. Bam for making it back on the pod. I like your 3 stars without a doubt on that. Well said, Daniel. Yeah, let's talk about that. We talked about Bam. We love you, Bam. Courage all the way, man. Coming on here. Gutsy, dude. Good on you. Healing and Gaines, I think we covered them rather well, right? They got all those dudes up, and there it is. But let's talk about Marcus and AC Noha. If you've seen the artwork of AC, you know, right? Every poster, everything you saw, the video games, the movies, like all that artwork, the vibe, definitely AC, right? And for Marcus, traveled with us from day one, has been the storyteller of the club, the builder of the culture with what he has said and done and photographed, the timing. Okay. One of our Dortmund guys, right? When we went on this crazy road trip, the reason our kits look as good as they do is Marcus. He's the man. Like, you have to understand the aesthetic. We got a logo and had to move off that logo, right? You had to create something. And that's where Marcus would always come in with the right moves, right? He took his chances on things, right? We've got some jerseys that are like, that's a little different, but it is different. And that's why you got to give him credit, right? Something unique, something new. And Marcus has always been able to provide that. So when you're talking about LAFC culture, his fingerprints are always going to be here. And for that, we're forever thankful, forever grateful. He's been on the show with us too. I gave him a big hug at the stadium after that match. And I know he's gonna be traveling. He's moving out of country for a project with his family. I mean, taking big risks, right? Doing what you got to do in this world. But even though he's traveled halfway across the world, he's gonna be here every week with us. He will definitely be in contact, and we'll see him at the games again. He can't stay away for too long. Again, it's in his blood, just like ours. And again, he defines so much of what we are and what we do. Do you guys want to add anything? Slip, you want to jump in?
Yeah, AC's a close personal friend, and
yeah.
To see his progress. Me and him, first season, he would travel from the Bay Area down to matches, and I'd be traveling from Vegas down to matches. So we would, coincide with that a lot, taking buses and all that, coming down here. So he put in a lot of sacrifice. And, a few years later, starts, his designs for expos and all that stuff. Ends up getting him, he ends up working for the club, and it's just amazing stuff, man. And that's literally the epitome of never stopping the grind. He proved that. It's funny because someone took like a picture of us together at the Dortmund game 5 years ago, and it was just like, dude, look at how far you've come. Forget about me. It's like, dude, you've you were manifesting it. You kept going at it. Marcus, I had the chance to play with him against Iron Maiden when we had that friendly with Max Bretos and a couple of other people from the 3252 and LAFC staff. So that was an interesting moment. It's kind of making fun of him for missing a couple of sitters. But hey, talking about that match, man, I'm still pissed because they asked us not to bring any pros or to bring any, people who really knew how to play football. And these guys had been playing together for like 10, 15 years. It's all Iron Maiden, their crew, their roadies.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, what the hell? You guys are really good.
Oh yeah, and this is a thing they do though. Like wherever they travel, like they get in games, and it's tradition.
So we had Marcus up top, we had me in the middle. Chia Mayor was playing too. Bretos, Benchy, I think Pat was there as well. There's a lot of people, and it's a testament. As speaking on that, football is a business, and people are going to come and go. You are going to make relationships, you're going to make friendships, but ultimately people are going to, go on and pursue their dreams. And, maybe 10 years from now, we're going to look back at this and where we're going to be. You never know, because even, with the personal endeavors, with podcasts and everything, you never know what takes off or where someone, is going to end up at. So yeah, man, it's sentimental. You give people their hugs and then, you move on. We've met a lot of people from day one with this community that are either no longer here because they just gave up on the club, that are still here doing their thing, they're still grinding it out, still supporting LAFC, aren't even about LAFC anymore. You know, I follow a lot of people on Instagram that initially I thought they were about LAFC, and now it's like, hey, man, why am I still following you?
What happened here?
You
Yeah.
catfish me, use me for land development over here. But yeah, it's what it is. It's the circle of life, the circle of footy.
Yeah, whatever happened to that one dude that was acting like he was signing for the team? I'll just let it go.
Oh, that one guy, yeah.
Yeah, that one guy. But nah, you're right, man. And honestly, both of them are moving on because you've got to develop in life. You've got to challenge yourself. You've got to get to the next, right? And so that's what they're doing. And again, families are involved, and you got to do what's best for them. And so we fully support them. Again, we will be forever changed for the right reasons because guys like them put in the time to work for this club. Right? That the love was there. And so again, thank you, gentlemen, for all that you do. No doubt about it. Thank you, Danielle, for bringing it up. Awesome, guys.
Yeah, for real. Thank you.
LO Trash Man in the mix. See you on here. Jibble in the mix. Welcome back, sir. Dave Gomez says, welcome, Terug Bam. We've got Dave also saying, the lads showed up. Carson is a bunch of clowns. Right? Actually, a loss became a win because of their treatment. Funny. It says the Galaxy fans. This is from Trash Can again. It says the Galaxy fans just so annoying, but this loss just shows me how desperate the Galaxy are. Oh yeah. They're on the edge there. He says we're on top of the table. The Galaxy had a bad first half with high schoolers. They're lucky that we didn't score in the first half because they had a real chance losing to LAFC too. Yeah, I mean credit to Klinsmann on some of those saves. They're pretty wild at the time. Dave again putting it in perspective says CCL, baby. That's what it's about.
And I'll be there for the first leg.
Yeah, are you going?
Yeah.
There it is, man. Keep us posted. When are you heading out?
Tuesday.
I know a lot of guys are heading out Sunday. I was originally gonna head out, but it didn't work out for me this year. I know. What? I know. I'm missing a road match. I get it, guys. It's weird. It's just weird. It feels weird, but that's how it is. Life, man. Let's see. Jibble
How dare you? How dare you have a life?
How dare you have a life and a career and a family and yeah. Let the young guys win this thing for us. That's how it works. Carry us forward, all of you. Jibble says, we need a tifo of the blue lock. How does it feel to be the clown of my story manga panel? It's too good to pass up. Blue lock, man. I got to catch up on blue lock. That's for sure. Hinchada de LAFC says, on to bigger and better things. CCL was more important. We can win this U.S. Cup next year. I mean, honestly, the U.S. Cup has become kind of like the NIT in basketball. The guys that make the run are the guys that aren't going to be in the big show. That's what it's become. We all know this already. It's nice to, go for everything and make it happen, but I know we get it. It's kind of like you do this when the others aren't going to happen. You make the push. Dave says expat life is good, man. I can't blame you. I have a feeling at one point in my life I will be considered an expat. These guys up here know what I'm talking about. I won't go too in depth about that, but hey, man, gotta live, dude. And there's a lot of nicer places, I ain't gonna lie, to retire. So that's way down the line. So
definitely not Florida.
Not, dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there, man. I could talk for an hour, but let Florida do Florida things. We're California. We do our things, and thank God we represent Los Angeles. All right, guys. I think that's it for the comments for now. Definitely add some more as we continue on the show. We've got a few more things to cover, and then we'll get back into a little bit of talk about Leon because there is stuff to talk about Leon. It's not going to be the full match preview. We're going to save that for down the line and as we get closer to the match, but we'll still give you an update as to what everybody's doing. All right, let's jump into it. Let's get to community news. The big things to talk about for community news is Global Dip. Let's be honest, Global Diplomatic doing their thing in Leon again. They did it the first time we went there. They're doing it again. This is their third international away day event. As those of you that went to Costa Rica know, they did amazing work in Costa Rica. I'm going to read it just as the poster says from Global Diplomatic. It says, "We return to where it all began. Once again, we will be helping Casa Hogar San Antonio. They house 30 children that are without family support. Our goal is to take them to their second soccer game. We are collecting donations to provide them gifts and needed supplies for the orphanage. The event will be Tuesday, May 30th at the Casa Hogar San Antonio, 2:00. So if you are in town, please go to it. I know I talked to Jonathan about it. He did what he did there. It will definitely change you. So if you're in town, definitely do your best to go there if you can. It's important, and it was cool to see the kids at the game when we went the last time. And again, shout out to Global Diplomatic for keeping this up. Now, what they're looking for, this is kind of cool right here. Basically, they say they need your help. If you send donations, I believe for $10, you get an LAFC hat. 20, you get a scarf. $50 donation. I'm talking about a jersey. Am I seeing that right? Yeah, I am. And $100 supplies for a birthday party. That's what this thing says. On May 30th, we'll be visiting Casa Hogar San Antonio in Leon, Mexico. We'll be throwing a birthday party to all children in honor of LAC facing Leon in the CONCACAF final. Goals to provide black and gold love, enjoying the beautiful game. So I think of their donations to give on these cases. I think I'm reading that right. So definitely they're going to need the donations to actually supply for the center. That's what's going on, guys. You can Venmo them at Global Diplo. So at GLOBALDIPLO, or Zelle at 909-829-8716. If you have questions, definitely check our social media. The rest of the 3252 individual groups will probably be bringing this up as well. Again, this is being run by Global Diplomatic. Definitely support them to the best of your ability. That is what we're going on. In terms of addresses, again, reach out to us. We can share the address to you as well for the event, but they definitely need the donations, guys. The other big thing in the community, this is looking pretty darn impressive. And if you aren't traveling to Leon, definitely you might want to check this out among other watch parties, but this is kind of special. There is a CONCACAF Champions League's final watch party at the Fox Theater in Pomona. Pretty massive. So May 31st, family friendly food and drinks. It is being hosted by Empire Boy, Crew, Pomona Casuals, District 9 Ultras, Vebo, and Inland Element. So 6 different groups involved to get this thing put together at Fox Theater. Those of you who grew up in an Empire know Fox Theater rather well because we've all seen many, many concerts at the Fox Theater. I think the last one I went to was Flogging Molly at the Fox. Yeah, it's a pretty big deal that we got this space and these groups got this space rented out for the watch party. Pretty impressive. I think Slip's got something to say about this, man. Fire in, man.
It's crazy, it's like down the street for us. But
Yeah.
I the last year I went there was very fortunate to see Tame Impala already, like not growing Tame Impala, but like already peaked Tame Impala there. They were playing an in-between show for Coachella, and that was amazing. I got to see Interpol there a couple of years ago too. But this is really nostalgic, and I would have been there if I wasn't going to be in Leon, because there was a time where the Fox Theater was actually going to go out of business. It was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty decrepit, and they would actually host watch parties for boxing matches. That's what they were doing. I think it was Hispanic ownership back then that would just charge like $5 to go watch fights there, and count on beer sales. And the place looked like it was falling apart, and it got brought back to it's gorgeous. It got brought back up to all of its beauty. It looks a lot more modern now. So that's going to be an incredible watch party if you can make that. If you're in the IE, or hell, even if you're not in the IE and just don't have anywhere to watch it yet, any solid plans, I would definitely check that out. Get them some numbers, because that is an incredible experience. And also get there early. There's a Juan Pollo down the street, which I live and dive by. I love Juan Pollo so much.
Here's the deal. If you're down there and it's like the Arts District part of Pomona, stay there. It's really cool right there. A couple blocks either way, you're in Pomona. All good. Love Pomona. I do. Grew up out here. But you just got to know it's really cool in that pocket. Now, Glass House is a little down the way.
Just stay there.
Yeah, stay in there. There's a lot of cool things to do there outside of the location. But it is a killer location. My memories of Flogging Molly. Dave King started in the middle of the show, started like ragging on me multiple times because I had a St. Pauli shirt on. And he fixated on the show and it became a thing. It was like a running joke for the show. But yeah. Good times. Good memories, right? Slip. Good memories at the Fox.
The
Theater.
best.
So, let's have some more good memories and get what we need done in Leon, and so everybody there can lose their minds. Be a nice memory of the Fox Theater. So hey, shout out to all the groups making it happen. All good things. Of course, we do have our LAFC update as well. Oh, before I do that, I do want to say 3252 membership is still open. Jump in, make it happen. As you see, there's now new merch coming out. We can't pre-order for these things unless you guys have their memberships, right? Because you need a budget. So please, if you haven't got your membership yet, please do so. If you identify with any of the groups, please register under those groups as well. Not only do you help those groups, you help yourself, especially if you're trying to get away day tickets and all that stuff, by being a part of one of the supporter groups. It helps. It definitely helps. And it allows for us to do amazing TIFOs. Outstanding TIFO. I mean, we've had a good history of TIFO so far. It's only going to get better. Trust me on that. And we can't make that happen without you guys. So do it. All right. LAFC 2 updates. Bam, have you seen a score so far? They're playing as we speak, or they just finished up, right?
They finished just before we went live, and unfortunately, the game finished 1-1, and we lost 3-1 on penalties. Looks like that the LFC 2 can only win penalties in US Open Cups. They can't win them in the next pro. But we had an own goal in the 51st minute by Dolomai to give Tacoma Defiance the lead. And then Torres scored in the 81st minute to take it 1-1. And then obviously 3-1 loss on penalties. So there's that. The next game, I did see that it has been moved. We're supposed to play Houston on June 4th. It's now going to be June 3rd at 7 p.m.
Okay. So it's coming up quick. I mean, it's tough on them. They had 2 games this week, right? Yep. Short notice, 2 games.
You did there.
Yeah. I did the obvious, right? Yeah. I mean, real talk. They had 2 games, especially Dolan Meyer. Poor guy, man. He had a good game too. Rough break there. All right. I'm going to throw this over to Bam again because he has the finest choice for the Black and Gold Vinyl Club Minute. So, sir, you have the floor.
This week, it's a bit of a somber Black and Gold Vinyl Minute. We're going with Tina Turner. Unfortunately, she did pass away this week in her home in Switzerland. Growing up, I listened to a lot of her music. One thing that I still find very, very weird is that Australia is the only place that I know of that actually has a dance that we do at school discos, all that kind of stuff, to the song Nutbush. There is a dance to the Nutbush that we do here in Australia. So after the episode, go jump on YouTube, go Australian Nutbush dance. It's a bit of a line dance. I think the 3252 would love to do it during the tailgates one time, but to me, it's right down the path of the 3252, the Nutbush. She's got a great catalog of songs. But yeah, so this week, it's got to be Tina Turner.
There it is. Well said. And yes, rest in peace to Tina Turner. Amazing career, tough life, ultimate turnaround, right? Definitely the story of resilience in her life. And definitely the songbook is absolutely amazing. So definitely revisit the career of Tina Turner, her music. Pretty amazing stuff. Good choice, sir. Well done. All right, let's throw it into it. We're going to give you a little bit of an update on the CCL as we approach. Is this our big preview? No, there's some big announcements coming up probably in the next day or so about something pretty wild, pretty historic in terms of the pod fam. And so I don't want to mess it up. I don't want to tip it. I'm just going to say, keep your eyes and ears open on social media. It's coming down. There'll be a proper preview. We'll just give you a little bit of an appetizer. We'll say that. Fair enough, right? Right, Bam? Appetizer? Yeah. So
Yeah.
all right.
It's
Mhm.
especially I'm gonna say Monday. Something big is gonna drop.
Well, something might drop on Monday, but you never know on Sunday. So we'll just leave it at that and let it be. For sure. For sure. All right. So let's get into it. Leg one, CCL. I know we're here. We're already here. If you think we're excited, imagine being Leon, who's been off for over a month, how they're feeling about it. But basically, Wednesday, 7 p.m. kickoff time local here. That's going to be a late night for you, Slip and Leon. We'll be kicking it off against Leon. Definitely going to be back at the Estadio Leon. They like to call it the new camp there. I know, how unique. Old stadium, running water is optional. Those who went last time know this. It's pretty wild how things work. I hope for the price they're charging this year, they're actually going to provide running water, or at least bottles or something. Um, Belt's optional though. Fair warning on that: if you're going, you probably can't wear a belt. It's old school, man. It's on. It's happening now. For Leon going into this match, pretty wild run of shows so far. They have been on ice, right, Bam?
Yeah, they obviously beat Tigres in the CCL and
Mhm.
at home to make it for the playoffs, but they did lose to San Luis in the playoffs, which I'll throw over to Slippy for that. He's got more intel on that game.
So the common thought here, and it was kind of obvious. I don't want to say, teams throw games, but they checked out. They pulled an LAFC like we did in the U.S. Open Cup. It's clear that they didn't care about the Liga MX tournament. They knew the oversaturation of matches and who they were going to face if they went into the bracket, because they beat Tigres, and they didn't just beat Tigres. They dominated the hell out of Tigres, who now is the Liga MX finalist. They're doing the second leg on Sunday. If you watch that first game that they played in Monterrey, Leon dominated. It's because they didn't capitalize on their chances that they ended up taking it. The Tigres goes on the counter, which is they're really good at, and takes them out. But they proved their dominance in that second leg, and making Tigres look like Leon did in those two matches is no small feat. Now, if you watch the match against San Luis, Leon is up 3 minutes in, 1-0, and then they just have the stupidest goal I've ever seen conceded. The defender literally gives it to the forward, and it's just a bizarro match. I really think mentally we're checked out. Like I said, they pulled an us. They were their chips are all in for the CONCACAF Champions League. If you see the reaction in Leon, you see their social media. They are incredibly excited about bringing their first international title to the city. Everybody is talking about that. That hype is real. I'm very thankful that we're closing out at home, but I think that loss against San Luis is a red herring. I think we should be very careful. This team is not the Leon we faced in 2019. This is an entirely different animal. Larcamon, their manager, is a tactical genius. He had a good run with Puebla a couple of years ago. With working with like bare minimum, and now that he's got the squad that he wanted out here, it is very, very dangerous.
Oh yeah, the fact that they've thrown us as favorites into this thing is dangerous. I'll say that. It's a trap, guys. It really is.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap. It is, because I know they're on ice for a long time, and I think that's a risk on their end, right? Having that much time off. It's not like they're sitting watching games. They're training. They're getting ready for this thing. I bet you there's some closed door matches that have gone on that we don't know about. Why wouldn't there be? Why wouldn't there be? So they're gonna be ready for this. They're gonna be ready for this. They're deep. You know how we're deep on subs. They're deep on subs too. I think Slip, you can attest to this. We're worried about our depth. They're not worried about their depth at all, are they?
No, none whatsoever. I mean, they got Joel Campbell on the bench.
Yeah.
Joel Campbell is a bench player for the guy was playing with Arsenal not too long ago, and was one of the catalysts of that Costa Rica team in 2014 in the World Cup. He still got it. He's still deadly. Like I said, they've got depth. We're worried about our depth. We need to play our best 11 and playing for what they are: finals, international finals.
Yeah.
We're 2 matches away from being the CONCACAF Champions League winners. Redemption for that one final we've already made. Oddly enough, it was against Tigres. Something against playing against feline teams. I don't know, but
I don't like it.
I know. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm very respectful of the rival. I've already seen comments over here talking about, oh, let's get our Club World Cup bookings in order and sort that out. And it's like, no. This is going to be tough.
It's so naive. I don't want to insult people, but we're playing a Liga MX team in a final. Okay, it is insanely naive to think that we're just going to walk in there and somehow take it from a team that's been around as long as they have, as ready as they are, as insane as their fan base is. I mean, I don't think people understand how intertwined that fan base is throughout that city, and how all eyes will be on those supporters when they're there. And I will caution all of you, if you're going on this road trip and you throw up the hubris that we threw in Costa Rica outside of the stadium, it will be a very different treatment. And you're going to get a very different treatment as opposed to when we were there the last time. Again, it's a cup final. You're not that weird thing that they were really intrigued about. Like, wow, look at them. That they know you now. You're not a surprise to them anymore. You're not a curious thing to check out. You're a rival now. You are an opponent. And you are standing in the way of their crowning achievement, as is ours. Different. It's going to be a different approach, nothing that we've ever seen before. I will be real. This is the most high-stake game that our club has ever played, without a doubt. And the most pressure-filled one. If you think Philly's tough, just get ready for Leon. Much better side than Philly will ever be. And so it's going to be a very different thing. Funny thing I noticed on their stats, they averaged last year in Liga MX 2.3 goals a game. Over 2 a game.
It's the Wild West with them, man. We got to check out. We got to look out for Angel Mena, who's deadly. One of the best players Liga MX has seen. Luis Montes, their captain, their star player. The guy from Leon has been through everything there. He's probably heading towards that phase in his career where we might say goodbye sometime soon. And what better way than making that team that you came up with, CONCACAF Champions League winner, man. That would be like the perfect phase, phasing it into the backside of his career. He's 37. Who else? Angel Mena, Tecillo in the back. Tecillo is Colombian international. Rodolfo Cota, who was already a Liga MX winner. He's a Mexican national team international player. Whenever Ochoa isn't on there, he's among the candidates to go up. Cota's a really good goalkeeper. He's also in that kind of the career too, though. These guys have been together for quite a while. This Leon squad has been insane chemistry. There have been some minor modifications to it, but for the most part, they've been there. Some of the guys were there, in 2019. They want, payback against us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, revenge is on their mind. There is no question revenge is on their mind. I look at them talking about injuries. They only got 2, Jose Rodriguez and Jose David Ramirez, who I don't even think those guys would register anyway at this point with what they're building. Looking at the stats, Angel Mena, 8 goals in 16 matches from what I'm reading here, right? Again, a goal every other game from these guys. Montes is their setup man from what I've seen. Ramos and Sosa as well. They're all over the place, man. I mean, again, the weapons are there. If we look at the lineups, San Luis, they came out with a 4-4-2. Cota in goal, Frias and Barrero as their center backs. Right back was Moreno, left back Rodriguez. Romero and Angulo were your central mids with Mena and Hernandez as your outside mid. Up top was Alvarado and Davila. which, okay, it looks strong. And again, options off the bench include Joel Campbell. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough.
Davila is pretty deadly too. I do have to point out, Luis Montes is no longer with the team. I forgot about that. I was thinking about last season. Yeah, he was gone at the beginning of the year, along with another one of their players that ended up retiring. So there's that. But even then, that's just a testament as to how much they have.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the roster again. It's like the insane amount of talent they have is pretty scary.
Yeah, we're in a fight, guys. There's no doubt. Nobody's crowning us anything. We got to go out and earn it. So I think we can definitely leave it at that. Bam, your thoughts going into this thing? Are you concerned, sir?
Oh, definitely. Like going into Lyon, as you said, last time we went there, they were like, "Who is this team? Who are these people? These guys look like fun." Now it's because that was a first round game. Now it's this is it. This is for everything. The only people that should be booking flights to the Club World Cup are the LAFC and Lyon fans, the ones that are Lyon supporters in Liga MX and LAFC fans in MLS. If they support both those teams, they're the only ones that are guaranteed a spot into the Club World Cup. If that's you, book your flight. Go, enjoy it, have fun.
I know two guys like that. Go, guys. Have a good time with it.
Have fun. But if you're not a Lyon fan and you're an LFC fan, I wouldn't be booking flights to the Club World Cup for the pure fact is we have to go there, play there first. If we can get out of this game 1-1, 2-2 draw, that's really, really good for us.
Yeah. Well, expect goals either way. Again, they average over 2 goals, but they also allow about a goal and a half a game. Yep. Nearly 2 goals a game. This is how they play. It's going to be a shootout. No doubt.
Yeah, 100% definitely. But if we can get out there with a score draw, preferably 2-2, it'd be really good for us coming back to play at the bank because I know we can beat them at the bank. It's what can we do in Lyon? That's the big question for me.
Oh, this will be one of those matches where it is all about the home field advantage. It's how do you handle it? How do you handle the pressure? How do you handle how organized the supporters are going to be? It's a hostile environment. Those that went last time know how good their supporters are at making noise, confusing the opposition. They were really, really well timed in the chance. It was pretty impressive to see. Again, on top of you. That's what you're going to get. When they come to our house, we're going to return the favor. That's for sure. I mean, we do what we do, right? But home field's going to tell the story here. Who can take advantage of it most? Who can handle the pressure of being on the road? We know our game changers on our team. We know the guy's capable of it. It's the question to me. It's going to be the back line. It's going to be the story of this. If we can get healthy enough for this thing, we'll be fine. If we can't, questions, big questions. So that is my take on it. Again, we gave you guys a fine appetizers. As this week moves along, you're going to hear some more stuff. We'll get more to you. Your thoughts, Slip. Final thoughts on this match before we move on to our closeout of the episode.
Close them down. Obviously, close on Mena. Close on their attack over in Leon. And if we can't close them down, then attack better than they can. The best defense is attacking. So I hope that we get the best version of Vela. I know when he plays in Mexico, he's inspired. They're going to insult him. They're going to go for the juggler because of everything going on with, him and the Mexican national team. So it might get a little personal for him. I hope he's able to use that as a motivator. I hope we get the Buongo we know and love. I think we go out there with Buongo, Poku, and Vela. We have nothing to fear. If we get the best versions of these guys, then we will definitely win this. Sifu is going to be very key. I hope the talk around him, on his way out and all that stuff doesn't get to him. I know it's been affecting his form for a couple of weeks now, and I don't blame him. He deserves everything he's out there looking for, but I think he's going to be very key in the midfield as well. Uchiki as well. I'm just very nervous about what can happen, but we'll be out there. We'll be out there. We'll tag you guys on some stuff, and we hope that we can get the result. And if we can't get a result, a draw would be wonderful.
Right. I mean, if you take some goals on the road, that's fine. You did your job. You know, move on, survive, take it back home and do it. Well said. We can't wait to hear from you over there. Get the updates from you, man. I know it's going to be one hell of a journey, and it's going to be a very different journey for those heading out there. I've heard some other details in the lead up. So, follow directions. I think would be the greatest thing I could tell you guys is if you have instructions, follow them. Do not try to do things on your own and go try to change the world on your own. It ain't going to happen.
That if for anyone watching right now, when you travel with 3252, there's a degree of patience you have to have. I know you want to get everything out of the way first and so on and so forth, but as people learn in Costa Rica, as people learn in the first Leon trip, if you're going to try and do things your way, if you're going to try to, captain this out, you're not going to end up in our section. It's plain and simple. There are ordinances, there are processes that are made to facilitate this. I think with Leon or Costa Rica, the tickets weren't even given out till the night before. So if you're that guy that I got to plan ahead, I got to have everything in hand, I got to buy my own tickets, and pay $200 on some sketchy third-party website, then by all means do so. Just don't expect to be sitting with the 3252, because if you want to jump the gun, I've got some news for you, buddy. You are in for a shock. That's not how things work. Not just with us, but overall in football travel in general. If you're working with the club, they will sort you out. They will have the things. All they ask for is patience.
Let's just say we're so used to living in the digital world. Welcome back to the analog world. Paper tickets, be here at a certain time, find your way, make it happen, follow the directions of the humans, and survive and get back home safe.
Yeah, it's not the MLS where you have Orlando away where they're charging you $35. Sorry, not 30. Yeah, $40 is like the average away price, and their stadium is completely empty. It's not like you can buy a ticket for $5 next to 3252 and just jump in. It's not like that over here. And honestly, Mexico kind of runs it like when you do a Chelsea, been to a Chelsea away game in Europe, they do the same thing. Meet over here. Wear neutral colors, be here, have your ID out. They're going to give you a paper ticket the night before, be respectful of the environment, so on and so forth. So a lot of people do need to, patience is a virtue.
And you can't talk your way out of things either. I will say this time and again, if they say there's a restriction, it's there for a reason. And you're usually getting it better than the Liga MX supporters, because it's very common for no one to be allowed to travel. So you're kind of getting a special treatment in the first place. So be respectful. Understand that you're going to be surrounded by a bunch of cops in riot gear. Yeah, that too. And then now you're in the real world. It's not Disneyland anymore, right? This is the real world of football. Respect it, flow with it, and come home safe. Follow the rules of the street. I'm going to tell you that a million times over. I can harp it forever. All right. Before we close this thing out, I see there's a couple comments. I'm just going to jump on those since I see you guys on here. Let's see what we got. Jibble is excited. Cannot wait. Dave says Leon is legit. But a battle for the CCL Cup should be tough. I'm so excited. Can't wait. Bring the 0 dark 30 start time. I'm ready. Yeah. For you, it's definitely dark 30. So, oof. And then Jose Bernal says, hola, ready for Leon. Another traveler, folks. I know he's on his way too. So going to be a lot of you guys. I've already seen the numbers. It's going to be pretty darn impressive by all you guys. Again, do it best. And as we stay golden, we do mean it. You're representing us over there. So ultimately get home safe, make an impact, do it right. That's what we do. Good stuff, guys. Thank you for the comments. All right. As you know, at this point, this is that moment, right? We get to our final thoughts. I'm going to give this one over to Bam. He's back in the mix. He leads the show here. Final thoughts, sir.
Final thoughts. Again, mental health. It's one thing that I'm going to keep driving. While I was sick, thank you to Joseph Tony for reaching out. Everyone in the chat for reaching out to me, make sure I was okay. That helped me with mental health a lot, and I can't thank you guys enough. Remember, phone call can save a life. Call, text your friends, say, hey, what's going on? Let's go out. Let's go catch up. Let's go watch some local games, all that kind of stuff. That's the main things. If you guys are still up and you don't know what to do for the rest of the night, there are some local games going on here in Australia that you can go watch on npl.tv. I'll put that in the group chat there. At the moment, you got Dandenong Thunder, which are originally an Albanian side versus St. Albans Saints, which were a Croatian side. So you got some bit of rivalry there going at the moment. And you've also got Bentley Greens playing Moreland, and Bentley has currently got a penalty at the moment, right at halftime. So some great games going on there. Jump onto that link, sign up, watch some of the local games. These are the stadiums that I would love to see LAFC playing some days. Just rural, local community stadiums. It's amazing.
But the football conditions are actually pretty good. The grass is good. It's kind of amazing to see it. But yeah, and of course everybody eating on the sidelines, and it's like the local like ethnic food. It's pretty fantastic, man. Good flashback, that's for sure. All right, I'm gonna throw this over to you, Slip. Final thoughts, my friend.
Oh, glad to see Ben back and that you're on the mend. Really happy to hear that. So first and foremost. And secondly, agreeing with the mental health thing, everybody phone call away. Sometimes in our support for the club, we tend to neglect some things or forget about, a couple of things in life. So it's always okay to take a break. The team's always going to be there. Support's always going to be there. There are bigger things in life. I know it's coming from a guy who just lives off of football, but there are bigger things in life. Make sure to check on your mental health, physical health. Kind of had to do that reality check as well. And obviously excited for Leon. Let's put the U.S. Open Cup debacle in the back burner. We are now chasing our first international trophy, and I'm excited. I didn't go to Leon last time, so this is definitely going to be a Slip BFC experience. Shout out to my friend, my dear and beloved Bruno Oliveira, who just keeps making a clown out of himself, coming out in defense of the Galaxy now. I'm not really sure if this guy's a journalist or whatever, or he's just trying to be, the pot stirrer now, but he's going to end up on another t-shirt. Mark my words.
I can't figure out the end game with this guy.
I think he just wants to be on a t-shirt at this point. I think I'm keeping him alive, keeping him relevant. But yeah, I know we were going to bring him up earlier. Just shout out to you guys for having me on. It's always a pleasure. I will have to say this may be the last time you see me on a pod because I'm taking off. I lost my ID in Vegas last week. My wallet was stolen, so I'm going out there with a temp ID. And yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Cash is king, man.
Cash is king. Yeah, cash is king. We'll see how that goes. So if I don't come back, or if I'm, join the pod next, in a couple of months, and you see like the Mexican backdrop, what happened there. But all jokes aside, once again, thank you guys for having me. I'm beyond excited to make more tweets and memes and cash in the receipts when we do win the CCL. And I'm just going to go ahead and drop it like I dropped it last time. But Bouanga, I believe July 4th, we will go into the Rose Bowl as the reigning MLS Cup and CONCACAF Champions League champions, and we will be at the top of the Western Conference. That's what I'll say.
There it is. There it is. Slip has spoken. This is the way. Yes.
Speaking of football, just going to jump in. Are you guys waking up at 6:30 tomorrow morning
for a tournament?
Probably.
Yeah. You know what? I think I'm actually going to make the drive down to LA Draught over in Santa Monica. They're having a Dortmund watch party. They've been there for most of the season. I have a lot of good friends that support Dortmund. It's a very important time for them. So my thing is, I don't want to show up there, at 6:30 in the morning, and they do win the Bundesliga, and my entire Saturday just goes down the toilet because he's asking drink. They can drink. That's what I'm afraid of. The only reason why I wouldn't show up there is because I know I wouldn't be able to control myself at the celebrations with them.
Okay, so I'm just I'll probably be up because Dortmund's going to do Dortmund things. They do Dortmund things. So I'm saying there's a chance for Bayern still because Dortmund does Dortmund things. For the past decade, they do very Dortmund things. So we'll see what happens. I think, of course, advantage is theirs. They probably should take it. No doubt about that. But it's not a walk in the park. And I can guarantee Bayern's going to come out on fire tomorrow. And it will definitely come down to the end, I think. This is going to be a nail biter. It's not going to be easy like y'all think. But again, Bayern has shown some cracks this year. They're in transition. There is no doubt about that. And if Dortmund takes advantage, congratulations to them. If they don't, I'm not gonna be sad. So there you go. We'll see how it all plays itself out. But man, I know.
Yeah, I love Tuchel. I miss him dearly, but
I don't. I don't. I thought the change was regrettable, to be honest. So there's that. We'll see what happens next year if he's even going to be there. But I expect some other interesting moves by Bayern in this offseason. It'll be no matter what the results are. I think you're going to see some shakeups. So there is that. They're not going to stand pat. So the fun of the Bundesliga. I did want to give a shout out to Tilo, who is actually there right now, getting ready for the game. He actually made the trek just in case his boys pull through and Dortmund gets the win. He is there for it. He is going to be at the stadium, as far as I know. He's got his ticket secured, and he's taking like 14 people with him. So good on you, man. Again, I can't say I'm wishing you luck for very obvious reasons, but good on you for making the trek, man, for sure. Now back to us, back to the actual local football. Thank you guys for again tuning in late for one of these bad boys on an off night. I know this is not our normal night. There's going to be a lot of eventful things in the next few days, of course, capped by a big match on Wednesday. But definitely have fun with it. Those who are traveling, enjoy your trip, enjoy the sights, but of course, keep your head on a swivel, be safe, be smart, be respectful to the locals. It is essential that you're respectful to the locals. Don't do anything foolish. Straight up. It is a great place to visit. Guanajuato is amazing, and I wish I could be there again with all of you. I won't be this time, but I know you'll represent us well. And Slip, enjoy your journey, man. It's going to be fun. It really will.
I'll be documenting a lot of this stuff. It's the first international away day for me with LAFC, so expect some twists and turns. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff. Don't worry, I'll make you feel like if you were actually there with me.
There you go. And Vancouver Wings is pretty good. I'll just say that. You're like, what? Yeah, it's good stuff.
All right.
You'll see. All right, guys. For the rest of you, again, thank you guys for doing what you do. It is time for us to call it that final word. You know how it goes. I will start with you, Bam. Final word.
Stay golden.
Slip.
Stay golden.
And for me, to all of you, stay golden, Los Angeles.
Thank you for listening to the Heart of LAFC. Make sure to leave us a rating and review on iTunes or Stitcher. Shoulder to shoulder, the black and gold is taking over.